Stephanie. Welcome and welcome back to Quilting Beauty and Books, my corner of YouTube. I pray that you and your family are all doing well today and that you enjoy today's video. As you can see by the title, I will be sharing with you my experiences dealing with my PTSD. This is going to be a very difficult video, but I'm telling you, or I'm sharing it with you in hopes that it can also encourage others who are in similar situations to let them know that they are not alone and that we can get through this together. I have been diagnosed with PTSD. I think it was the official diagnosis came, I want to say around 2016, 2017, somewhere in there, in the beginning of 2017, if 2017. Yeah, that official diagnosis came then, but I have been dealing with it ever since 1994. Back in 1994, I was in the military. Let's go back a little bit prior to 1994 so you can get an understanding of why I thought the things that I thought. Back when I was about 9 years old, I want to say it was 9. Could have been 7. Somewhere between 7 and 9. Girl, when you get 50, your mind goes, okay? The date's just a little bit fuzzy, okay? Yeah, I know, because I could have swore my dad was still living at the time I had chicken pox. I had one of the worst cases on record at that time in the state of in the city of Milwaukee, state, Wisconsin. Yeah, because I had internal and external chicken pox, meaning that anywhere there was an opening inside those areas, I also had chicken pox. That means I had it in my mouth, my nose, my ears, my hoo-ha, and my ooh-ah, you know. So yeah, I had it in those different areas, and one of the doctors did say that because of the severity of it, I would not be able to have children. Okay, let's fast forward to 1994. I am in the military and doing what married folks should be doing. Grown, thinking I'm grown, okay? And I get pregnant. And here I am dating this guy that I just really, 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 really like, you know? And I found out I was pregnant, and he was like, we can't, you know. And I was devastated, okay? Devastated. And but I remember just being so happy about this baby. I was happy about this baby because I was told I would never be able to have a child. So when I told my mom, she was like, oh, so that's what y'all doing over there in Korea? She was so mad. But she was like, yeah, after, the bitterness and the madness wore off, she was like, oh, yeah, my baby's having a baby, da-da-da-da-da. So I was having, I was having issues on and off. I think it was more of my psyche because, I wanted this baby. Now, let me tell you about what was happening right prior to me getting pregnant. I just got saved. Okay, prior to me getting saved, my dad, my godfather, he was my pastor over in Korea, and he was like, you're too not. I was like, no, daddy. So I got saved, and all of a sudden that next weekend, I was like, daddy, I'm pregnant. He was like, what? Really? I laugh at that all the time because I was like, nope. And he was like, well, he gonna have to do the right thing. And in his mind, the right thing was, hey, you gotta marry this girl. Y'all about to have a baby, you know? And I was like, yeah. It just did not happen that way. Okay, so I was pretty bummed about that. But I was like, I'm a Roberts girl. We are strong women. I can do this. I don't need you, you know? And so, and he was a cook. So I would be like, we hungry. He would go in and cook us something to eat. I'd be laughing so. I can laugh at it now. Because this part is the funny part. So, I kept having these weird dreams, you know. I'm sorry, I'm silencing my phone because I failed to do so before. Yeah, I kept having these weird dreams that something was going to happen, and I just couldn't shake it. So, about 4 or 5 months, I'm starting to feel a little flutters. I'm really, really excited, and I'm kind of huge at this time, and I'm like, what in the world? Am we expecting twins, or what's going on up in here? And people were asking me, you okay, and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I was cleaning a vehicle, a truck, one of the big trucks, where our unit went down to the motorcade. I think it was called motorcade. Motor something. I think it was motorcade. We went down there and we were to clean the trucks and clean the rust and stuff off the batteries and stuff like that. It was cold outside, and I'm like, I'm not doing nothing. And then, you know, our first sergeant was like, I don't care if you're pregnant, you're gonna get down there and you're gonna do it. I'm like, okay, ain't nothing gonna happen, because he was like, it's nothing gonna happen because you passed your first trimester. So I believe that. So I'm sitting up there cleaning the battery post, and my foot slipped, and I am flipped upside down in this truck, screaming at everybody else on the inside. Finally, somebody came out and helped me get down off this truck and out the way. I'm literally, my feet was, I'm screaming hard. So that happened, and after that, I was like, okay, I'm okay. And then the next day, we had to go down to get, me and my supervisor, we went down like 4 or 5 buildings to get some publications that we need, because we were having this huge inspection. And I'm like, we gonna ace this inspection. And I was just really tired. I was just exhausted, tired. And they were going out to celebrate, because, I mean, when we say we passed with flying colors. Yeah, your girl was bad. And I was like, I am so tired. And they was like, Steph, you want to come out? Let's celebrate. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't feel like it. Guys, I was so tired. I had to lay down across the desk. I was that exhausted. And my room was upstairs, like on the 2nd floor. I could not make it to upstairs. So one of the sergeants helped me up the stairs, and I just lay down, went to sleep, and I slept I didn't go to dinner. I slept that whole entire night. And that morning when I woke up, I went and took a shower. No, I was on my way to the shower. I went to the bathroom, came back out, and on my way back to take my shower, all of a sudden, I felt something trickle down my leg. And I'm like, okay, that can't be, because I am about to be 8 months pregnant, and I think it was like 1 to 2 more days. And I'm like, nah, this can't be. So now a whole bunch of stuff with me and the doctor has already taken place. He already poisoned me. He had given me street market version of heroin. He already told me don't bring my butt back into the clinic anymore, okay? So, I mean, a lot of stuff has happened between me and the provider that to this day I don't trust a lot of doctors. So, I was like, cool, you know, I'm good. I mean, this pregnancy is going to be fine, you know, after he pretty much cussed me out. So, I went to I went and took my shower. And I said, okay, I'm about to go and see if my daddy is home, because he's in the next building over. His butt decided to go down range to go shopping. So I came back and I'm like, and this time now I'm freaking out. And I go to the officer who was on, I want to tell this story so bad, and I feel like I was not in the military because I cannot remember all of these acronyms and stuff like that. I feel so horrible. But he's the guy who watches over us during the night. I'll put it on the screen. He was there, and he was cool, okay? I love this man. Sergeant Thomas. So he was like, Steph, what's going on? Well, Robert, what's going on? But he knew my first name was Stephanie, but so he called me Steph. Steph, what's going on? I said, I think my water broke. He was like, what? Let's go to the doctor. Let's get you over to the hospital. I said, I can't. He was like, why? He's like, because the doctor had already told me, don't come back over there. And he was like, he said, what? I said, yeah. He said, hold on, wait a minute. So he made a phone call, and he got somebody to cover him while he took me over to sick call. Get over there to sick call, and the person was there, the nurse or whoever was there, and he called the doctor to let him know, because the doctor was not in the building, that it was me and it was an emergency. Now, Camp Page is about the size of maybe a football field, a little bit bigger than a football field. But in walking distance, is no way. It's so small that it should not take you to get from one corner of Camp Page to the next. It would not take you no more than 30 minutes to walk, period. It took him 45 minutes to get to the office, to sick call, the clinic. And he was like, didn't I tell you? And as soon as he said, didn't I tell you? Next thing I know, he was up on the wall, because this sergeant hemmed him up. You will not talk to her that way. You will not disrespect her. She is here for a reason. And he unhemmed him down, and we went into a room. And he said, I'm standing right out here. It was so funny. I was like, then people were so nosy. This was just like a really nosy community. People saw me going over there, and people already heard that my water had broken, stuff like that. And he was like, we need to go get Elliot. And they was like, yeah, well, that's the baby daddy, and I'm not blocking his name out. Let's go get Elliot and let him know what's going on. So somebody ran to get Elliot. He was a cook. Like I said, he was working as a cook. And he did a test and found out that my water broke. So that meant I had to fly an hour away to Seoul, Korea by helicopter. So it was like life flight and all that kind of stuff. So Elliot got there, and he was like, don't worry about it. Everything is going to be okay. Da 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 da. I'm like, okay. We still having beef because, all of a sudden all of a sudden decide he want to care. So I'm like, dang on. This doctor didn't even tell the paramedics why I was going to Seoul, Korea. Big belly, mind you, but when you're laying down, it don't look so big. But when I stood up, it looked really, really huge to me. And he was like, so I was tired. I was still feeling tired. And the guy kept tapping my forehead. You need to stay awake. And I was like, for what? And he was like, well, what's wrong with you? I said, my water broke. He was like, what? So he was like, well, I thought you was here for so and so and so. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So he's telling the guy, this girl pregnant, da 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 da. And I'm like, and the guy who was telling me, he was like, we didn't hear that she was pregnant. So the doctor even lied to the paramedics, well, the air flight people. I was so. So anyway, I get to the hospital, and the doctor, his name was Dr. Paul Weber. For some reason, his name was the only name that I can remember throughout this whole episode. He was like, well, you're going to have your baby either today or tomorrow. And I was like, no, I'm not. God is going to let me hold this baby. We're going to carry it to term. I'm not having that. And he was like, oh, okay. Just so you know, you still going to have that baby tonight or tomorrow night. And I was like, I don't care what you say. They admitted me. And I tell you, I think this was, I'm going to say it was, God was definitely with me during this time. I was in the hospital for 21 days with my water broke, and I did not get an infection. But I kept saying, my water is not going to break. My water is not going to break. God, you got this. You got this. I mean, I'm just holding on. And I'm looking in the Bible, you know, declaring his word over me and this baby. And but honestly, guys, by day 15, people coming in, out having babies. Then they put another girl in the same situation in my room who lost her baby. And I'm like, y'all need to get her up out of here. Because I'm not losing mine, okay? Y'all, some stuff happened over in that hospital. Let me tell you. Now, this is an American hospital. However, there are Koreans that work there. And, of course, a lot of our American soldiers are there, too, working. So, on day 20, I was like, my dad kept saying, Stephanie, you need to pray, Lord, your will be done. And I'm like, no, I'm not praying that, because his will might be to take my baby, and that is not going to happen. And he was like, Stephanie, you have to trust him and tell him it's okay that his will is to be done. And I'm like, I'm not cool with that. Now, he was telling me that around day 11 on up until probably around day 18, because then we didn't talk after that. So not that we had a beef or anything like that. It was just so much that was going on. So I was in a room by myself, and I got the cramping started again, because they had been able to stop my contractions and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, this is not gonna happen, you know. And then I was like, Lord, I am tired being in this hospital. This lady done came, and I told her it was something in the bed, and she found it was one of them big, y'all call them water bugs here in North Carolina. It was the big gigantic cockroaches. She got that roach off my bed, y'all, and ate it, talking about it was a delicatessen. I was sick and afflicted. I was ready to get up at the hospital. I had a lot of rude nurses, rude doctors, and they kept coming in, how you doing? Okay, again, we can't, there's nothing we can tell you. You're going to have this baby, and ain't nothing we can do about it, period. Y'all, I'm not having this baby, and you're going to do something about it. So, day 19 or 20, no, 19, it was day 19, because I stayed a day afterwards. I said, Lord, I don't want to pray your will be done, because I got a feeling you're going to take my baby, or I'm going to deliver and you're going to take my baby. I don't want that to happen. But my dad said I need to trust you, and so I'm going to trust you. Don't take my baby. That's how that prayer went. And I am not playing. By that evening, my contractions started coming. They could not stop, no longer stop them. And they were like, well, you're definitely going to have this baby. And I was like, God, okay, it's apparent you want me to have this baby. Just don't take my baby. I'm going to tell you, when the contractions, now this is natural childbirth, okay? This is what, they didn't offer me nothing to help me with nothing, okay? I'm having contractions like crazy. They said, well, we're going to go in and take you down to the delivery suite. Now, a lot of stuff I'm leaving out, okay? So, I go to the delivery suite. Well, I'm thinking, okay, first I was in the hallway for about like 10-15 minutes. And they said, well, okay, here we are. When I think of delivery suite, I'm thinking of what I see like on other people have on YouTube, like I see in the movies and stuff like that. Guys, they put me in a closet. You had brooms, you had cleaning supply. I mean, it was only like this much room between the wall and my bed on each side. There was nothing in there that said that a doctor's supposed to be in there tending to a patient. I didn't have no call button. I didn't have there ain't no sure wasn't no TV. I didn't have anything. Okay? I'm like contracting, and then you know how you just, well, if you ain't had no baby, you're not gonna know. All of a sudden I just felt like an urge to push, and I'm like, wait a minute, because no one checked me, no one said anything about me about ready to have this baby, you know. They told me I was about to have a baby, but not dang sure not by myself, you know. So I'm like, oh shoot, I ain't got no call button. So I'm having to yell, somebody, come in here, I'm about to have this baby. I'm screaming this. Ain't nobody coming. Nobody is coming. Then a black nurse came in because she heard me screaming, but she was walking in, coming in to clock in. And she said, what are you doing in here? I said, they wrote me in here talking about this was the delivery suite. And she said, what? She said, hold on, I'll be right back. And I'm screaming. I'm like, poop, the baby head came out. I'm screaming. I said, the baby is coming. The baby is coming. Ain't nobody come nowhere. I had my cell phone, so I knew what time the head came out and what time I delivered him by my dang self. Now, I didn't know nothing about an afterbirth and all that kind of stuff. But I had him on my belly by the time, and this time I called out. When I screamed out, I think everybody in the entire hospital heard me calling out. Cause then two or three nurses came running with the doctor. I had the baby. The doctor looked and say, "Oh, he'll be dead in 10 minutes," and he walked right back out. I was like, what? Because you're not going to save him? No. And kept on going. The nurses walked right behind him. I'm not going to do it. I'm crying. I am mad. I'm ticked off. I'm mad at God. I'm mad at these men. I'm mad at these doctors. I'm mad at these nurses. I did not get any understanding. So I am blowing lightly into my child so he can live. I can see it was a boy. It was a boy. And I'm mad at God yet, but I'm praying, Lord, help me save my baby. What matter of man would do this to another person. I couldn't understand how people can be so mean, so heartless. And I'm like, Lord, help me save my baby, you know? And that nurse came back in, and she was like, what the hell is going on, you know? And I'm like, they left me. He still has a heartbeat. The doctor came in. This is past 10 minutes. Oh, he'll be dead soon. They did absolutely nothing. I gave my baby CPR by blowing into his face. And I'm like, Lord, what is going on? And the black nurse came back in, and she said, with a white nurse, and she said, you want me to call the chaplain? And I was like, yes. Do you know that joker said he wasn't coming because, you know, if the baby dies, the baby gonna go with Jesus anyway? I was lost. I felt abandoned. I trusted no one. But when she told me that, she had tears in her eyes, and she said, I'm saved. This is what saved me just a little bit. She said, I'm saved. I believe in Jesus. Do you mind if I baptize your baby? And I was like, please. She did. And he passed away. When he died, that's when he started caring. Oh, let me take him, clean him, let me do this. Oh, let me no, you want to do that while he's in here. I don't trust you people. Now, mind you, when the doctor kept coming back and forth, I still hadn't delivered the afterbirth. So when and I ain't talking about like I said, this is over past an hour. And the nurse said, why is this baby still attached to you? Guys, I'm going through so many emotions, and I'm not feeling my best. And I'm going to show some pictures, but I'm telling you, I was not doing good, you know? And she called the doctor back in there, and he was like, well, I thought so-and-so took care of it. No. So I delivered the afterbirth, and we looking, you know, because I'm medical, I'm nosy. I'm looking at this afterbirth, you know. And it was a hole in it about like that big. It was no way that it was going to seal. And I said, well, do you think it was that after, you know, when I delivered? And he was like, no, it most likely was already there. And because we had you on bed rest and all this kind of stuff. You know, now he want to be all compassionate. To this day, I can't remember any of their names, and it's a reason for that, because God knows I probably would have been in jail, because I know with how I feel right now when I talk about it, or when I'm angry, or when I'm going through, I feel like I just want to go pick them off, you know what I'm saying? But after that, the people called and said, you know, so we can discuss how we're going to, you know, well, the chaplain called talking about, oh, I'm sorry for your stillbirth. I corrected him. I didn't have a stillbirth. I had a live birth, and y'all killed my baby. You know, I was not gonna let that slide. So they told me where, because I had to go sign some papers at the mortician and all that kind of stuff. Guys, I'm gonna tell you, I was a mess. I broke down in Burger King. I was crying, boo-hoo crying. I had to get myself together. I couldn't even order my food, and I had to come out. Everybody was looking at me like, what the heck is wrong with her? I mean, I cried. We was on our way picking up a new officer. I cried all the way there, all the way back, and he was like, he didn't even know me. And this man had more compassion. Oh my God, stop crying. Had more compassion than anybody in the hospital. I was furious. Furious. And also my commanding officer, she was in the hospital at the same time. She was trying to have a baby, and here I am having, and I lost the baby. So I came home for a couple weeks, and that's another story, how they just dogged me. Another couple in our unit, they had a baby. Now, they got married after she got pregnant, and they rolled out the red carpet for her to get them home. And when it was time for me to go home with my baby, they were like, oh, we can only get you to California. You will have to get your baby from California to Wisconsin. And I'm like, how? They was like, you can drive it or you're going to have to pay for it. And I'm like, are you serious? They got the royal carpet treatment. They just got married. It was a racial thing. It was because I was single thing. It was just a whole mess. That the lady at the airport had more compassion. She's like, well, I'm going to do this for you and I'm going to do this for you. She discounted my ticket and got me a more comfortable seat to fly home with. I'm like, I'm telling you, they put me through so much. And then, calm down, Stephanie girl, calm down. And it had me, and I did go back to finish my contract and stuff like that, but it had me in a place where I can't celebrate another woman when she's pregnant. I cannot celebrate you being happy when you're pregnant, because God, it didn't happen for me. You know what I'm saying? And all of my health issues were ignored after I had this baby, you know, and it just left me just mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, not being able to trust any medical provider, not being able to trust men, period. It was just like a very hard time. Sometimes I still struggle. Like, there are times when I saw a baby in a stroller and I would mentally feel like I'm about to go steal this other woman's child. That's how mentally I was going through. And I know, I'm going to tell you this part too. I'm definitely going to make 2 parts of this because this is going to be entirely way too long. After I got out of the hospital, I was so angry with God. I got saved. I gave my life to you. Now, you know, during testimony service, this is what I'm saying. Standing up in front of a packed church, because everybody knew I went to church and everybody wanted to come and see that how I'm doing. That was the only time that church was packed, okay? They wanted to see how I was doing. And they were saying, everybody clapping, praising the Lord. He opened it up for testimony. And, you know, everybody went up to, oh, I give honor to God. I'm angry. I'm pissed off. How could this happen? When I said I'm going to give my life to you, well, I was like, did this happen because I lied? Because I said I wasn't doing something I wasn't supposed to do? You know, I brought that up, but I was angry. And I said, and then the baby daddy sitting up in church too. I'm going to tell you this part and then what had happened. after I had him and I was in the barracks, I came back and was in the barracks. My next door neighbor, she wanted to hurry up and get home to her husband. She is newly married and she had to wait to turn in her weapon. Well, she's like, out of all people, I don't know how I was in her radar. And she was like, Roberts, can you turn my weapon in for me, please? And so I can go home and be with my husband. And I was like, yeah. I'll turn your weapon in. Now, it was the reason why God didn't let me work with a handgun at that time. But I was very comfortable with the rifle. She didn't have no rifle. I worked with MP. She had a handgun. And I was sitting in there trying to figure out how to put them bullets up in that magazine up in that gun. And one girl, her name was Bogat. It was so funny. She saw that girl give me that weapon, boy. She went to running because she knew I was unstable. She ran and got my daddy. Now I said my whole unit was MP. I was not an MP though. She ran and got my daddy. I locked my door because I'm simply trying to put that in. And the baby daddy is down the hallway screaming, I'm free, and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, I'm gonna show him how free he was, because if I got this weapon loaded, I was about to go down there and put a hole up in here, okay? And my daddy was banging on the door. Stephanie, open this door, let me in. I was like, I said, do you hear that going on down there? Yeah, I'm gonna give him his freedom. So the MPs was knocking on the door. Come on, Roberts, open up the door. You don't want to do this. And they just talk to me down and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, I ain't trying to hear that. And my daddy down there, he went down there. He's like, boy, if you don't shut up, this girl down here with a weapon trying to figure out how to come down here and blow your head off. You better shut up. I ain't heard not another word, okay? We went. I opened up the door because they were about to break that sucker on in, and I didn't want to leave my stuff unattended and all that kind of stuff. So I opened the door. They got the weapon, and had to go spend a little night in behind, and till I cooled down. I wasn't arrested or nothing like that. They knew what was going on back to church. So I'm like, is this fool over here talking about he came to sow, but he told them that he wanted to see his child get cremated. Who get to see their child get cremated? Nobody get to see that, right? Right, okay. So that was a lie. He said to go to sow. He didn't come to see me. He didn't come to see how his baby, about the baby or anything. We did not see each other, okay? And I said, this fool sitting up here talking about he coming to see a child get cremated. I'm telling you, I unloaded in that church. I was livid, okay? I was like, God, this ain't right. You gonna have to make this right. I don't know how. I don't trust you. I don't love you. I can't say that I'm saved. I said, but I know I don't want to live without you. So we gotta make this right. I had enough sense to say that. Went home back to the United States, back home with my mom. They drove me absolutely nutty. And my mom made this statement. I mean, I'm crying. I'm hurt. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I didn't know what was going on. And she was like, girl, I thought your faith was better than this. What the heck is wrong with you? I was like, you ain't lost no child. You will never understand. And she was like, but I understand hurt. I understand death. It don't matter if you lost a child or a husband or a significant other. Death is death. I understand that. You need to pull yourself together. All right. So I did. And enough to know that they were driving me absolutely batty. I needed to get back to my life over in Korea to finish this contract so I can, you know, finish my military career. So I went back over to Korea. And lo and behold, on my way back, you had to catch this one bus, because they only had one bus in, one bus out, to our duty station. And I'm on this bus, and guess who on that bus with me? God played too much, okay? Baby daddy. I sat in the seat and I put my bag right there. I wish you would. You bet not. So he sat over the aisle and he put his bag up in that seat. So we both on the window, and I refused to look at him. And I fell asleep. I woke up to this letter that he wrote me. He apologized and all that. I looked at him. I was like, whatever. I was bitter. I don't hear this crap. You got something to say to me, you say it to me. Write me this man. And I declare, you know what? I kept that letter. I kept that letter up until my mom's house was trashed after she passed away. And I hate that I didn't bring that letter with me. But I went back to church that Sunday. And I was sitting in there, and it was the preacher. They have different denominations. So another denomination pastor was in the church speaking, and I was the only one in the hallway. And I declare, I heard a voice, and he's like, yeah, I'm talking to you. And it wasn't even a pastor, because he kept on talking. And I'm like, you know what? I'm about to get the heck up out of here, because I'm freaking out. And I declared, it was as loud as I am talking to you. God was telling me to let it go. And he still loved me. And that it's okay. And honey, I fell out right there. I was done. And then when it was time for our church service to start, I got up. I thank God. Hallelujah. I'm so sorry. Honey, I'm for real. I was crying. I'm sorry. I said some mean and hateful things when I left this church. And I'm going to tell you what God did and said. I told him about that experience that I had right before church started. And I'm telling you, it was the most humbling, the most apologetic I've probably ever been in my entire life, because I believe that was like that they say fire and brimstone, because if I wouldn't have got it together, I probably would have checked up out of here. That's how scared I was. So yeah that happened. That was when I lost my first son, Trévyon. His name was Trévyon Kelvin Roberts. I did not give him his father's last name, but I did give him one of his names. So the Kelvin. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to break this up into two parts, because this was when I lost my first son, and it was an experience that I never will ever forget. Like I said, I am grateful that I can't remember names, because there are times to this day that I have a hard time celebrating with other people, or hearing other women say, oh, you know, I can't wait to get married and have a baby. I always get, you know, that. And it's hard to live through that. It's very hard to live through that. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to stop this video now, because this was quite long and I don't want to ramble on. So until the next video, guys, I'm not going to do the sign off and all that kind of stuff. So until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.